the last last section of chapter 5, which is section 513, using factoring to solve problems. So we're going to now, why do we learn all this? Before we learned why we were factoring, because when it became an equation, so we learned how to utilize turning a trinomial into the product of two things in an equation, setting it equal to 0 using the 0 property. But how are we going to use this in real life? So the real life problems are going to look like this. Here's the first example. If a number is added to its square, the result is 72. Find the number. So if a number is added to its square, the result is 72. So we get this problem. We know that what's the first thing if we want to find it? Set it equal to 0 first. So we're going to subtract 72, subtract 72. We get x squared plus x minus 72 equals 0. Number 2, is it in standard form? Yes. Is there a common factor? No. Is it a special case? No. So we'll do a times c. A is 1, c is negative 72. Factors of 72 are 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3, no, not 3. Oh, yeah, 3 and, sorry, 24, 4, yes, 4 and 18, 5 no, 6 yes, 6 and 12, 7 no, 8 and 9. Signs are different, bigger is positive. We get 71, 34, 21, 14, 6, 1. My middle is 1. So I'm going to use negative 8 and 9. So x squared minus 8x plus 9x minus 72 equals 0. We're going to factor by grouping. Factor out an x, you get x minus 8. Factor out a 9, you get x minus 8 equals 0. And we know we did it right because that is the same binomial. We'll factor out that binomial, and that leaves me with x plus 9. Now we have the product of two numbers that equals 0, so one of these must be 0. So what value of x when subtracted from 8 equals 0? And what value for x added to 9 equals 0? So we'll add 8. And we will subtract 9. Now we have two solutions. Now let's go back and see. So those are our two mathematical solutions. But we want to make sure if a number is added to its square. So it says nothing about the number being a whole number, being an integer, etc. So if a number is added to its square, the result is 72. So let's check it. So if a number is added to its square, so 8 squared plus 8, does that equal 72? That's 64 plus 8. 64 plus 8 is 72. 72 equals 72. So that worked. This is the checking. And here's the other cool check. So what if x is negative 9? So if a number is added to its square, so let's square negative 9, and we're adding negative 9. Does that equal 72? So negative 9, quantity negative 9 squared is 81 minus 9. And 81 minus 9 is 72. So that's why we can get two solutions here, a negative number and a positive number as its solution. So little interesting problem on the verbiage. A number is subtracted from its square. So x squared minus x equals 90. Set it equal to 0. We're going to subtract 90. X squared minus x minus 90 equals 0. It's in standard form. There is not a common factor. It is not a special case. So we'll do A times C. A is 1, C is negative 90. Factors of 90 are 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 30, 4 no, 5 yes, 5 and 18, 6 yes, 6 and 15, 7 no, 8 no, 9 yes, 9 and 10. Signs are different. Bigger is negative. That's negative 89, negative 43, negative 27, negative 13, negative 9, negative 1. This is equal to my middle, so we will make x squared plus 9x minus 10x minus 90 equals 0. We'll group. We're going to factor out an x. You get x plus 9. Factor out a negative 10. You get x plus 9 equals 0. That leaves us with the quantity x plus 9, x minus 10. Product equals 0. We'll set each one equal to 0 to find out what value for that box would make that box 0. So a negative 9 would make that left box 0. And a positive 10 would make the right binomial equal to 0. So if we check them, I think it was x squared, so let's check. Check, so if we square negative 9 and we subtract negative 9, does it equal 90? So negative 9 quantity squared is 81. The opposite of negative 9 is positive 9. And yes, 90 equals 90. The other check is 10. So 10 squared minus its number equal 90. 100 minus 10. 90 equals 90. So that worked also. So my solutions are going to be negative 9 and 10 are the two numbers. When squared, subtracting that original number equals 90. A positive number, very important here. A positive number is 56 less than its square. Is 56 less than its squared. So a positive number is equals, a positive number is 56 less than its square. So that's how we're going to do it. Set equal to 0. Let's subtract x. We get 0 equals x squared minus x minus 56. Standard form, common factor, special case. A times C. A is 1, C is negative 56. 1 and 56, 2 and 28, 3, 4, yes, 4 and 14, 5 no, 6 no, 7, yes, 7 and 8. Good. Signs are different. Bigger's negative. Negative 1, negative 10, negative 26, negative 55. My middle is going to be that. So we have 0 equals x squared plus 7x minus 8x minus 56. We're going to factor out an x. We're going to factor out a negative 8. We get 0 equals x plus 7, x minus 8. Set each one equal to 0. Minus 7. And add 8. Now remember, it said a positive number. So, positive number Let's check. Check. So 8 equals 8 squared minus 56. That's 64. No, excuse me, that's 8 equals 64 minus 56. 8 equals 8. And that worked. Notice it would not work. Check. -7 equals -7 squared minus 56. Yeah, it does -7, but it's not a positive number. So yes, they knew this is 49 minus 56. -7 does equal -7, but it's not a positive number. So even though it is true mathematically, our only solution is going to be 8 because that's the only one that fits the criteria. It has to be a positive number. A negative number, oh, okay. A negative number, we don't have to write -x, we just know that that value has to be a negative number, is 56 less than a square. Okay, well, we know what we're going to get. So we still get x squared minus 56, and we do the same thing, and we still get x equals -7, x equals 8. The only difference is, and we showed that that check is going to work, that when we check this time, it does. -7 equals 49 minus 56. -7 equals -7. This time, it's a solution. So this time it fits the criteria, where this is extraneous. Well, it's not extraneous. It just doesn't fit the solution. Find two consecutive negative integers whose product is 72. So we have x equals the first number, negative number. We don't have to write -x, much like this. And then the next number is going to be x plus 1 is the second negative number, and that would be consecutive because we're just adding 1. So find two consecutive negative integers whose product is 72. So we're going to have the first number times the second number is going to equal 72. So here we want to, we're not going to set it equal to 0 because we still have to distribute that. So we have to write it like this. So 1 is really, we still have to simplify. Now we can set it equal to 0. So we'll subtract 72, subtract 72. You have x squared plus x minus 72 equals 0. Standard form, common factor, special case, a times c, -72. I think we just did those earlier. 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 and 24, 4 and 18, 5 no, 6 and 12, 7 no, 8 and 9. Signs are the same. Signs are different. Bigger is positive. And signs are different. 71, 34, 21, 14, 6, 1. Those are my middles. Wish they'd get a little bit more creative. X squared minus 8x plus 9x minus 72 equals 0. Factor out an x, x minus 8. Factor out a 9, x minus 8. We get x minus 8, x plus 9. Set them each equal to 0. X minus 8 equals 0. X plus 9 equals 0. Add 8. Minus 9. Now, those are my two possible. Find two consecutive negative integers. Well, 8 is not a negative number. So that's not going to be the answer. So x equals 9. So if x equals 9, and then, oh, excuse me, negative 9, then my other number would be negative 8. So find two consecutive negative integers are going to be negative 9 and negative 8. So that's how we would write it. Two consecutive negative integers whose product is 72. Negative 9 times negative 8 is positive 72. So we plug that in, and then we find the next consecutive number. Consecutive is going to be increasing order, hence why I added 1. You wouldn't subtract 1, that would not be consecutive. That would be going in the wrong direction. Find two consecutive positive even integers. So again, x equals the first positive, x plus 1, consecutive positive even integers. So even numbers are 2 away. First positive even, second positive even. So even numbers are always 2 away. So if x is an even number, if I want to find the next consecutive, I would add 2 to it, and whose product is 120. So we have x times the quantity x plus 2 equals 120. So we are going to simplify that left side in order to set it equal to 0. X squared plus 2x minus 120 equals 0. Factors of 120, where the signs are different, that combine to make 2. I don't know those. A times c, 1 and negative 120. 1 and 120, 2 and 60, 3 and 40, 4 and 30, 5 and 24, 6 and 20, 8 and 15. We're getting closer. 9 and, no, not 9 and 10. 9 does not go into it. 10 and 12. Oh, hello, Mr. Mac. Signs are different. Bigger is positive. So there's my 2. So we get x squared minus 10x plus 12x minus 120 equals 0. We factor out an x. We get x minus 10. We factor out a 12. We get x minus 10. X minus 10. X plus 12. So I know that my x values, x is going to equal 10. And x is going to equal negative 12. So negative 12 is not a positive even number. So my check is going to be 10 times 12 equal 120. Yes, it does. So my solution is going to be two consecutive positive is going to be 10 and 12. So if x is 10, then the next one will be 10 plus 2 or 12. That's how we look at it. The sum of squares of two consecutive positive odd integers is 2002. So the sum of the squares of two consecutive positive odd. So x is going to be my first positive odd. And here's the interesting thing. X plus 2 is going to be my second positive odd. But Mr. Mac, it has to be odd. Why are we adding 2? Why shouldn't we add 1 or 3? Well, remember, my x is going to be an odd number. So x is going to be 3 or 5 or 13. How do I get to the next consecutive odd? That would be 5. So I'm adding 2. It would be 7. I'm adding 2. It would be 15. I'm adding 2. So that's why even in odd pairs are always going to be 2 away. This is the place where most students will make their mistake. So find the sum of the squares of two consecutive. So we have x squared plus the quantity of x plus 2 squared. The sum of two consecutive positive odd is 202. So we get x squared. This is going to give us x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 202. We know how to take a binomial square. That's a binomial square. We know the shortcut, the template. We're going to add those. No, that's 2x squared. 4x plus 4 equals 202. And now we're going to set it equal to 0. I'm going to simplify that left side before I move it and set it equal to 0. Plus 4x minus 198 equals 0. Remember our order, set equal to 0. Standard form. Common factor. There's a common factor here. So if we factor out a 2, you get x squared plus 2x minus 99? Yeah, 99 equals 0. And now we're going to do a times c. A is 1, c is negative 99. Factors are 1 and 99, 3 and 33, 9 and 11. Signs are different. Bigger is positive. That's my positive 2. So we get x squared minus 9x plus 11x minus 99 equals 0. We're going to factor out an x. You get x minus 9. Factor out 11. You get x minus 9 equals 0. 2 times quantity x minus 9, x plus 11 equals 0. Set each one equal to 0. 2 doesn't equal 0. It's a constant. That's not the one that's going to make this product a 0. X minus 9 equals 0, and x plus 11 equals 0. So we'll add 9. We get x equals 9, and minus 11, we get x minus 11. So now let's look at the criteria. The sum of squares of two consecutive positive odd. So which one is a positive odd number? The positive odd would be number 9. That is not positive. So my answer is going to be 9. And if we plug it in for x, if that's 9, then we have 9 plus 2 is 11. So 2 consecutive would be 9 and 11. 9 and 11 are going to be my 2 numbers. The sum of the squares of two consecutive negative odd integers is 130. So we have the sum of the squares of two consecutive negative odd integers. So we, again, x is going to represent that first odd, negative odd number, and x plus 2 will take us to our next consecutive odd integer, second negative odd integer. And the sum of the squares, so the sum of those two squares is going to equal 130. What? Oh, sum of the squares, okay. I was like, how can that be positive? But it works. So we're going to do x squared. This again is a binomial, 2 terms squared. So we know that that's going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 130. 2x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 130. Let's set it equal to 0. We get 2x squared plus 4x minus 126 equals 0. Let's factor out a 2. We have a common factor. That's 63. And that's going to be 7 and 9. So I know that x squared minus 7x plus 9x minus 63 equals 0. You see how good you can get when you can do it mentally. We'll factor out an x, you get x minus 7. Factor out a 9, you get x minus 7 equals 0. So all I did was the a times c. I just thought of factors of 63 when the signs were different and the bigger is positive. I just thought of 7 and 9 that were 2 apart. That's how I got those two. You do enough of these, you can do a lot of the work, mental math. Set each one equal to 0. 2 can't be 0, it's the constant. Of course, that's not the one that's going to make 0, 2 times that 0 has to be one of these two. So x minus 7 equals 0, x plus 9 equals 0. X is going to equal 7, x is going to equal negative 9. And remember, it has to be a negative odd. So that's not negative. So my only number is negative 9. So if x is negative 9, then we get negative 9 and negative 7. So my solution is going to be negative 9 and negative 7. When we square each of those and add them together, it equals 131. 81, 130. 81 plus 49 gives you 130. The length of a rectangle, so let's draw a rectangle. The length is 5 centimeters greater than its width. So if this is the width, then the length is going to be the width plus 5. Find the dimensions of the rectangle if the area is 126 centimeters squared. So we know that area equals length times width. So the area is 126. That's not a 6. The length is W plus 5, and the width is W. So we'll simplify that right side by distributing. We get W squared plus 5W. Let's set it equal to 0. We get 0 equals W squared plus 5W minus 126. I don't know. We'll do A times C. I don't know the factors of 126 that are 5 apart. So I'm going to have to do some factor pairs. 1, 126, 2, and 63, 3, and 42, 4, no, 5, no, 6, yes, 6 and 21, 7, yes, 7 and 14? No, not 14. 7 and 18. 7 and 18. 8, no. 9, yes. 9 goes into that, what's that, 14 times. And guess what? Signs are different. Bigger is positive. There is my positive 5. So there's my factor, my outside and inside, my outside, my inside. We'll factor by grouping. We get W0 equals W times the quantity W minus 9 plus 14 times the quantity W minus 9. 0 equals W minus 9, W plus 14. Set each equal to 0. W equals 9. And set that equal to 0. W equals negative 14. Now, our width, we can't have distance, can't be negative. So my width must be 9 centimeters. So equals 9 centimeters. And then my length is going to be 9 plus 5, or 14 centimeters. So find the dimensions. So if we're going to write the dimensions, we're going to write 14 centimeters by 9 centimeters is going to be my solution. And does that times that equal 126? Yes, it does. The length of a rectangle is 8 centimeters less than twice its width. So we have a rectangle. The length is 8 centimeters less than twice its width. So twice the width minus 8. The width is the width. Find the dimensions of the rectangle if the area equals 120 again. All right, so area equals length times width. 120 equals the length. 2W minus 8 times the width. 120 equals 2W squared minus 8W. Let's set it equal to 0. 0 equals 2W squared minus 8W minus 120. Let's factor out a 2. We get W squared minus 4W minus 60. Factors of 60 when they're different makes -4. Let's see if I can think of that. 5 and 12? No, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. There we go. Plus 6w minus 10w. Outside inside makes that minus 60. Okay, we're good here. Let's factor by grouping. We'll factor out a w. We get w plus 6. Factor out a -10. We get w plus 6. So my factored pairs look like that. Set each equal to 0. 2 can equal 0. W plus 6 equals 0. W equals -6. W minus 10 equals 0. So W equals 10. Can't have negative distance. So the width is going to be 10 centimeters. And then 2 times 10 minus 8 is 20 minus 8 is 12 centimeters. So find the dimensions. The dimensions are going to be 12 centimeters by 10 centimeters is the dimensions of the rectangle. That if we double 10 and subtract 8, that gives me my 12. Find the dimensions of a rectangle whose perimeter is 40 meters and whose area is 96. Whose perimeter? Hint, let the width be W. Use the perimeter to find the length in terms of W. So, we know that the perimeter equals 40. And if this is the width, what is the length going to be? So, we know that perimeter equals twice the length plus twice the width. You see what we're doing here? So we can fill in. So the length is going to be question mark. Can we solve for the question mark? So let's isolate the question mark. So we're going to fill in 40 for perimeter. 2 question mark plus 2w. Let's solve for the question mark. We're going to subtract 2w. We get 40 minus 2w equals 2 times the question mark. Let's divide by 2. And we get 20 minus w equals the question mark, or the length. So we know the length is equal to 20 minus w. Okay, so that's how we would do that. And now we use that knowing what the area is. The area is going to equal 96. And we know the length is 20 minus w. We know the width is w. So area equals length times width. Area is 96. The length is 20 minus w. The width is w. 96 equals 20w minus w squared. Now we're going to set it equal to 0. Let's make sure our w squared is positive. So we're going to move everything to the left. So we get w squared minus 20w plus 96 equals 0. Factors of 96 whose difference is 20. Oh, okay. 1 and 96, 2 and 48, 3 and 32, 4 and 24. Oh, there they are. Signs are, oh, no, signs are the same. Oh, tricky one. That was tricky. 5, no, 6, no. Yes, 6 and 16. That doesn't. 7, 8, yes, 8 and 12. There they are. Signs are both negative. That gives us our -20. So that was a little tricky. That was a good one. Minus 12w plus 96 equals 0. Factor out a w, get w minus 8. Factor out a -12, you get w minus 8. W minus 8 and w minus 12 equals 0. Set them each equal. you get W equals 8. Either the width can be 8 or the width can be 12. How is that? Well, we know that width can be length and length can be width. So let's check it out. Let's plug it in. So if it equals 8, if we put the width at 8, that's going to be 20 minus 8 is 12. So we see how it's 8 by 12. If we say the width is 12, we say it's 12, then it's 20 minus 12, which equals 8. So it's either 12 by 8 or 8 by 12. Use the perimeter, find the dimensions, and we are in meters. So the answer, the dimensions, are going to be 8 meters by 12 meters. Or you could have said 12 meters by 8 meters. Doesn't matter. Nice. Find the dimensions of a rectangle whose perimeter is 52 and whose area is 160. We're going to use that same technique. P equals 52. This is going to be W. This is going to be question mark. So if we know correctly, we know that that's going to be 26 minus W. How? Because P equals 2 question mark plus 2W, and 52 equals 2 question mark plus 2W minus the 2W minus the 2W. We get 52 minus 2W equals 2 times question mark. Divide everything by 2, and we get 26 minus W equals question mark. So I just remembered it from the other one. So taking that information, we use it to find the area. Area equals 160. Our length is 26 minus W. Our width is W. Area equals length times width. 160 equals length, 26 minus W, times the width. 160 equals 26W minus W squared. Let's again move everything to the left. We get W squared minus 26W plus 160 equals 0. Factors of 160, when they're the same, equals 26. 1 and 160. 2 and 80. 3, no. 4, yes. 4 and 40. 5, yes. 5 and 32. 32? Yeah, that's a weird one. 6, no. 7, no. 8, yes. 8 and 20. No. 9, no. 7, 9, 10. 10 and 16. Oh, 10 and 16. Signs are the same. Both are negative. So we get minus 10W minus 16W plus 160. We don't need parentheses yet. Equals 0. We have W minus 10 minus 16, W minus 10 equals 0. So we have W minus 10, W minus 16. So my width can either equal 10 or my width can equal 16. So we know that the dimensions are going to be 10 meters by 16 meters. 10 meters by 16 meters is the dimensions. That has a perimeter of 52 and an area of 160. Originally, the dimensions of a rectangle were 12 centimeters by 7 centimeters. 12 centimeters by 7 centimeters. When both dimensions were decreased by the same amount, the area of the rectangle decreased by 34 centimeters. Well, the area was 84, so the new area is going to be 84 minus 34, and the new dimensions, so what's that? That's a area of 50. Area is now going to equal 50, and we reduced by x, and we reduced that by the same distance. So is going to be length times width, or the length, yeah, length minus 5. So we'll leave this out. We'll say the new area equals length times width. The area is 50. The length is 12 minus x. The width is 7 minus x. Let's FOIL that. That's going to be 84 minus 19x plus x squared. Let's subtract 50. 0 equals x squared minus 19x plus 34. Factors of 34 when added equal 19. 1 and 34, 2 and 17 right there. So 0 equals x squared. Signs are the same, both are negative. Minus 2x minus 17x plus 34. Factor out an x, you get x minus 2. Factor out a negative 17, you get x minus 2. So 0 equals x minus 2, x minus 17. So x is going to either equal 2 or x is going to equal 17. So let's check it out. Let's plug it in. So we can't, x can't be 17. 12 minus, it can't be 17 because if you do 12 minus 17, you're going to get negative 5. And distance can't be negative. So that's a no-go. Let's try one. 2x is 2. So 7 minus 2 equals 5. And 12 minus 2 equals 10. And 5 times 10 is 50. So what unit are we? Centimeters. So the dimensions are, find the dimensions of the new rectangle. Dimensions are going to be 5 centimeters by 10 centimeters. 5 centimeters by 10 centimeters. Doesn't matter if we do 10 centimeters by 5 or one of those. Okay. Originally, a rectangle was twice as long as it was wide. Twice as long as it was wide, so that's going to be twice the width. The length is going to be twice. When 5 meters was subtracted from its length and 3 meters subtracted from its width, the resulting rectangle had an area of 55. Okay, find the dimensions. So area equals length times width. 55 equals 2w minus 5 times the quantity w minus 3. 55 equals 2w squared. Outside is negative 6, inside is negative 5, negative 11w plus 15. Let's subtract. Let's set it equal to 0. 0 equals 2w squared minus 11w minus 40. No common factor. However, a times c, do not do factors of 40. It is, a is more than 1. So negative 40 is negative 80. So we have 1 and 80. You have 2 and 40, 4 and 20. 5 and 18? No, 5 and 16, which gives us signs are different. Bigger is negative, that's my negative 11. So we have 0 equals 2w squared minus, that's plus 5. Plus 5w minus 16w minus 40. So we can't factor out, we can factor out just the w. You get 2w plus 5. Let's factor out an 8. We get 2w, negative 8, plus 5. And so we get 0 equals 2w plus 5 and w minus 8. This is going to give me negative 5 halves. This is going to give me 8. We can't have negative width, so my only answer has to be a width of 8. So 8 minus 3 equals 5. 2 times 8 minus 5 is 16 minus 5 is 11. So we have 5 and 11, and we are in meters. So the dimensions is going to be 11 meters by 5 meters. 5 and 11. These are really, these are really good problems. So there is where we use factoring to help us with word problems.